You ever watch something so ridiculous unfold in real time that your brain just stalls out like you're buffering in real life? Because surely this can't be happening. That was me standing in a gas station parking lot watching my wife, who was just trying to fill up her car, get screamed at by our neighborhood's most charming racist in orthopedic sandals, accusing her of stealing gas and threatening to call 911. Let me back up a sec. My name's Sam, I'm a contracts attorney, and I live in a sleepy little suburb where the loudest thing most days is a leaf blower or a squirrel fight. My wife Myra is a teacher. Sweetest person you'll ever meet, runs on caffeine and compassion, the kind of person who still waves at the mailman like it's the 1960s. We've lived here for 5 years, kept to ourselves, mostly made polite small talk, hosted a BBQ once, and tried really hard to avoid one particular neighbor. Her name, Evelyn Grace Whitmore. She's the kind of woman who refers to herself in the third person, wears gardening gloves to church, and has an American flag that's somehow both sun-bleached and ironed. From day one, she had a problem with us. Our wind chimes were ethnically disorienting. Our mailbox was aggressively modern, and our Christmas lights too jubilant. But the thing is, we let it slide. We figured if we kept it cordial and boring, she'd eventually get bored of trying to police our lawn decor. Yeah, we were wrong. The day this all went down, I was headed home early, client rescheduled, so I figured I'd surprise Myra and maybe grab lunch. On my way past the quick stop on Elm, I saw her car at the pump, and right behind it, Evelyn's ancient beige station wagon door flung open, dog yapping in the back seat, and Evelyn mid-meltdown. Her arms were flailing like she was conducting some angry orchestra, and Myra just stood there, pump in hand, confused and calm, like she'd wandered into the wrong play. I pulled into the lot, parked out of view, and watched for a second lawyer. Instincts, you know? Myra put the nozzle back shut, the gas cap clearly ready to leave. That's when Evelyn stepped in and grabbed her arm. Not gently, not excuse me, levels of contact. A full-on clutch like Myra was shoplifting gasoline. At that point, I was out of the car. No tie straightening, no smoothing my hair. I was moving, fast. By the time I got there, Evelyn had cornered Myra near the store entrance and was yelling loud enough to echo off the ice machine. "You're gonna pay for my gas," she screamed. "I saw you. You people always trying to get away with things." There it was. You people. The phrase that always slips out when someone's had too many decades to ferment their hate. Myra, bless her, held her ground. "Ma'am, I paid for my own gas. I've got the receipt right here." Evelyn rolled her eyes. "Anyone can fake a receipt. You were probably siphoning gas while I was distracted." Now, let me just say this. My wife, God, love her, didn't even know what siphoning meant until we watched Breaking Bad. The idea that she'd somehow execute a criminal gas heist in broad daylight with 6 people watching insanity. And then, of course, Evelyn pulls out a flip phone from 2003 and starts dialing. "I'm calling the police," she announces, "to no one, and I'm telling them you assaulted me and tampered with my vehicle." That's when I stepped in. "Evelyn, that's enough." She spun around, and the look on her face, shock, then rage. "Samuel Bellingham, you stay out of this. Your wife is a thief." My wife, I said, stepping between them, has done absolutely nothing wrong. You, however, have just physically assaulted her, and now you're filing a false police report. She pointed that flip phone like it was a weapon. "I'm a respected member of this community, and I'm an attorney," I replied. "So I suggest you hang up and walk away before this turns into something you can't wriggle out of." But nope, she made the call. The police showed up fast, two cruisers, lights flashing. A sergeant and 3 officers got out expecting God knows what. Evelyn launched into a performance like she was gunning for an Emmy. They ganged up on me. She tried to take my gas. I was terrified. The cops separated us. Myra and I explained everything calmly, even showed them the digital receipt. Tyler, the gas station clerk, barely out of high school, came out and confirmed that Myra had paid pumped and been minding her own business before the Banshee descended. Evelyn's version kept changing every 5 minutes. First it was theft, then assault, then some imaginary gas pump hacking scheme. Then Sergeant Lane pulled me aside. "You said you were an attorney." I nodded. "Yes, sir. And we'll be filing charges. Civil, if not criminal." He gave me a look that said, "Thank God, because this woman's exhausting." We went home shaken but clear. Myra was quiet, not sad quiet, processing quiet. That night she asked why Sam. What did I ever do to her? Nothing, I told her. You existed in her space while black. That's all it took. And that was it. That was the last straw. I sent a formal demand letter apology, no contact, and $5,000 for emotional damages. Her reply came scrawled on scented stationery, like a hate note from a Jane Austen villain. I am the victim and your threats are harassment. So we filed. And here's the twist she lawyered up. Alistair Finch, a man with a comb-over and the courtroom presence of expired oatmeal. His opening move offering us $1,000 and a note of regret. Yeah, that didn't fly. Deposition day came. Myra had our associate Maria with her young sharp, not one to be toyed with. Evelyn stumbled through questions, contradicted herself, admitted she had felt threatened, but wasn't sure what Myra actually did. Maria read the 911 transcript back to her big aggressive woman, send help before she hurts me, and asked if that was true. Evelyn blinked. No, she whispered. Right there, on the record. False report, under oath. After that, Finch came crawling. $2,500, then $5,000. Still no apology, still no admission. We held the line. Eventually, the judge stepped in pre-trial conference chambers packed. Judge Vance didn't mince words. Mrs. Whitmore, you are lucky this is a civil court and not criminal, because what you did could have gotten someone hurt. That's when we settled $50,000 formal apology, no contact order, and her admission in writing. The money arrived 59 days later. We donated most of it to a local racial justice org. The apology came on plain white paper, typed emotionless, but it was enough. 2 weeks after that, a for sale sign went up in her yard. We watched from our porch as Evelyn loaded up the Duchess for the last time. No goodbyes, no eye contact, just a bitter little exit from the kingdom she used to rule. And you know what? The next folks who moved in, sweet couple, mixed race, 2 little girls who ride scooters in the driveway and wave every time they pass. Myra baked them muffins. Peace doesn't always arrive with a trumpet. Sometimes it shows up in the absence of barking dogs and hateful stares. Sometimes it just sounds like laughter through a wind chime she once called offensive. But here's what still haunts me, how close it came to going another way. If we hadn't shown up, if the cops had believed her story, if there hadn't been cameras or a receipt. That's why I'm telling this. So tell me, what would you have done? Have you ever dealt with someone like Evelyn? Someone who turns everyday life into a battlefield because they can't stand the sight of difference. Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about justice community and what happens when we finally say enough.